Hey gamers, this is Liz Davidson from Beyond Solitaire, and after the last one, which was fun, I'm trying another Dr. D Teaches Mage Knight video. This one is going to be about units, how to use them, when you can use them, and what all the things on unit cards mean. So while in Mage Knight, you are a mysterious fighter who can do a whole lot of things on their own, including conquer entire cities and move without sleeping through the day and the night for long periods of time. You will need a little bit of help, and to get help, you hire units. At the beginning of the game, you're only able to have one unit, but as you level up, you're going to have the capacity for more. As you gain fame and level up, you're going to want to be watching out for these octagonal symbols, because every time you level up and hit a row with one of these at the left, that means that you are about to be able to have another unit, and you may also be getting some bonuses to your armor and your hand size. So these are the level up tokens for Wolfhawk, who is one of the expansion Mage Knights. She was first introduced in Lost Legion. If you have the Ultimate Edition, everybody will just be in there, so no worries. But if we started playing as Wolfhawk, she'd be in levels 1 to 2. She'd have 2 armor and a hand limit of 5. And then this token, which is just blank on the other side, is her first unit token. But let's say that we make it to level 3. What's going to happen is we're going to take this off the top to reveal the level 3 to 4 token, where her armor is 3 and her hand size is 5. So her armor went up a little bit. And this also tells us that she's in levels 3 to 4. Once you hit level 5, you pull another one off. You get a bonus to your hand size this time. So basically these numbers will track your armor, your hand limits, and the level range that you're in. But these tokens that you put off to the side are not to be ignored because they reflect how many units you are currently allowed to hire. So once you hit level 5, you can have up to 3 units. But if you're still in the levels 3 to 4 range, you can only have 2. And if you're in levels 1 to 2, you can only have 1. In Mage Knight, there are going to be 2 decks of units that you can potentially hire from. These silverback cards are basic units, and these goldback cards are advanced units. Each scenario is going to give you instructions for what kind of units come out, but in the solo walkthrough, the very introductory scenario for the game, you're only going to use these. And then in the solo conquest, which is what you typically would move up to after you finish the walkthrough, you start with only the silverback cards, and then you add these in once the gold core tiles start to come out on the map. So you have to explore for a little bit before you get advanced units. And while all units are cool, the advanced ones are distinctly more awesome. So here in this pile, you can get stuff like Peasants, Herbalists. I mean, they heal you, they're cool. Guardian Golems, these guys are actually pretty awesome, I love them. And Utem Guardsmen. There are several other things in here, but I just want to give you like a quick sampling. Let's have a look at these. So each of your units is going to have a few stats on it that tell you things about that unit. This top left cost is the amount of influence that you're going to need to generate in order to hire that unit. So when you're ready to recruit somebody, make sure that you have the influence to do it. Over here in the top right corner, this is the level of the unit. That's going to be important for healing, which I'm going to talk about in another video. It's also important for point scoring at the end of the game. Higher level units are going to be worth more to you over time. They're also more expensive to heal. These symbols here on these little banners on the left are going to tell you where it is possible to recruit units. So you can't just recruit any unit anywhere. They're going to have symbols that tell you. So these Utem Guardsmen can be recruited at a keep, which is why they have that tower keep symbol here, or at a village. Whereas Guardian Golems cannot be recruited at a village. They don't have that little house symbol. They can be recruited at mage towers, which is that kind of spindly looking tower right there, or at keeps. The Herbalists, on the other hand, can be recruited at monasteries or at villages. And then Peasants are just little village dwellers, and that's where you recruit them. If you want something super amazing, like these sweet catapults from the advanced unit deck, you're going to need to get those in a keep or potentially in a city. So pay attention to the symbols on these cards. Here on the right, you're going to have an armor value for your units. And that's also key because these numbers are going to come in when you decide that your units should take wounds for you and you assign them damage. So we're going to talk more about that in my actual separate video about taking wounds and assigning damage. But know that this is here and that is going to be a key element for you in the units you choose. And then each unit is going to have its own set of cool actions that it can use to help you. So the lines mean or. So when you activate your Utem Guardsman, you can either attack for 2 or block for 4, and it counts twice against an attack with swiftness. If you watch my last video about combat, you'll know that you have to generate double block in order to block an attack from an enemy that has Swift. So your Utem Guardsman will be able to help you with that. The Guardian Golems can attack or block for 2, or if you power them with the appropriately colored mana, which is why they have this different colored backdrop and the little mana symbols next to them. If you pay a red mana, they can do Fire Block 4. If you pay a blue one, they can give you Ice Block 4. Herbalists can heal you if you give them some green mana, but they can also ready your units, which I'm going to talk about again in just a second because that's actually really handy, or they can help you gain green mana tokens. Peasants can help you with attack or block, influence, and moving. And then when you get up to these higher level ones, you get these sweet things like these catapults that let you do siege attack and use mana to change the type of siege attack it is and the value. Ooh, I like this one a lot. I will basically buy catapults whenever possible. So these units are very, very handy. However, they do have limited uses within the round. So when you decide to use a unit for something, be sure that it's what you really want to use them for, because they can't just be used again and again and again, turn after turn after turn. Let's put a couple of these back and do an example. So let's say that these are our friend Wolfhawk's units for her current game of Mage Knight. What's going to happen is if you decide to activate a unit, let's say that we're in combat and I want to use my Utem Guardsman to block. If I choose to use them to block in a specific combat, I'm going to move my command token down here onto them. And that means that they are spent for the remainder of the round. Mage Knights don't need to rest, but units do. So if I use this guy during the day, then I'm going to have to wait for the rest of the day, and then I can reset him when I hit the night round. So once I have used him, it's going to be a while. He has a cooldown phase before I can use him again. Unless I decide that I really need that block again, and I can do something like use my Herbalist to ready a level 1 or 2 unit. So I could spend my command token on the Herbalist to ready this unit, because readying is basically re-preparing or unexhausting your unit. But then again, once I've used that power, I'm going to have to wait till the end of the day or to the end of the night before I can ready or refresh this unit and then start again. So typically, each unit can only be used one time per round, once per day or once per night, unless you have some sort of power that allows you to ready a unit again. So definitely pay attention to your priorities when it comes to using your units, because they can do great stuff for you, but they can't do everything. You should also be warned that while you've hired your units, they're generally pretty loyal and helpful, there are a few things they will not do. One of those is burn down a monastery. So monasteries are typically peaceful, pleasant places where you can go to learn advanced actions, hire some units, but sometimes you just really want a powerful artifact card. And one guaranteed way to get one is to burn down a monastery. However, if you choose to burn down a monastery, it decreases your reputation by 3 whether or not you succeed, and you have to fight a randomly drawn purple enemy. The other thing to be aware of when you try to burn a monastery and get into a fight with a random enemy is that your units will not help you. They think that what you're doing is so wrong that they won't leave your service, but they absolutely will refuse to help you. So if you're going to burn a monastery, that's something that you have to do alone. So there's one other place where your units will not follow you. I should have just used this tile in the first place because it's got a monastery and a dungeon. So if you decide to go into a dungeon and fight a monster, your units are not going to come with you. They will wait upstairs and they're not going to abandon you, but they are not coming down in there to fight that monster. So when you go into a dungeon, you have to draw a random brown monster token and fight it. Those are some of the nastier ones in the game, and you do not get any assistance. So be aware that you should not depend on your units to help you if you go down into a dungeon. They're like, yeah, man, go do what you want to do, and we'll just, we'll be waiting out here for you. So this one you have to do on your own. But for everything else, your trust units are there to help you, and you should absolutely be hiring them as you go. I want to make one more note about units before I end this particular video, because this is a mistake I constantly make when I play Mage Knight, and I've played it a lot of times. So each round, you're going to build up a unit offer. So like a little market that you can buy units from. It changes from game to game because you shuffle the unit deck. But in the same area where you make this unit offer, you're also going to build offers for spells and for advanced actions. When you acquire a spell from the spell row or an advanced action from the advanced action row, you refill the empty spot that was left behind when you took a card. However, That is not true of units. When you hire a unit, you do not automatically replenish the markets. You have to wait until you reset for the next day round or night round, depending on what you're doing. Some other little technical notes. When you set up your unit market at the beginning of the game, you're always going to have the number of players plus 2. So for a straight up solitaire game, like the walkthrough or like Solo Conquest, there are always going to be 3 units on the offer. If you are playing the Lost Legion expansion and Volker is involved, he actually counts as a second player, so you'll add a 4th. You might also be wondering, what if I filled up all my command tokens and I want a different unit? What if I don't want my herbalists anymore? So to disband a unit, all you do is go spend your influence to hire another unit and you replace one that's currently under one of your command tokens. So you have the right to disband your unit and make room for another one. So don't ever worry that you've used all your command tokens and now you can't get that fancy unit that you're waiting for. You can just disband one of the ones that you already have. And I think that that's it for units. Next, I think we should probably talk about wounds and healing. Let's do it. Thank you so much for watching. I hope this was helpful. If it was, please do like and subscribe and stay tuned for my next video, which is going to be about wounds and healing.